Joining me in studio here, I have Paddy Diver, and of course we wanted to talk about the redress and mica and what's been happening. And the one thing we know about this show is if it's going to rattle a cage, you just come on here and start talking to us about what's going on, because it's really important. I will say to you, I've said the word mica and I've said the word redress, but let's strip it back here. Paddy, you're very welcome joining us here in studio. I'm going to get you to move in towards us so we get every single word. But I want to start by saying this is about mammies, daddies, children, communities. It's all about people. This is impacting on lives right now. And you're going to tell us, let's start somewhere with this, because I want people to be aware, because a lot of people have no clue what the hell's going on.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I don't know where to start, but as you say, families is the number one. I could start with quarries and the government and the lack of legislations, and let you know that this government's known us for 10 years about quarries. There's 2 quarries closed in Dublin 10 years ago, and they don't regulate quarries in the rural parts of Ireland, like Mayo and Donegal. But like, getting into the real serious thing about it is, there's families on their knees here, and I mean, to a different level that you'll never understand. I know old woman that is sent in for emergency accommodation because they can't handle the stress of the next crack that the roof is going to come down, and they've been turned down and they've been told to go and fill out these forms. These forms are 67 pages. Right,
so we're going to strip this right back, because you have been an advocate and a revolutionary when it comes to putting a voice on all of this. But we need people to know what exactly this is. So the quarries cause subsidence to the buildings. Well, and what's happening, the houses are cracking. So we need to break it down, mica, and explain to people, because a lot of people just genuinely don't actually know where we're going. Because I hear what you're saying, but I've seen your videos and I can honestly say it's horrendous what's happening. But we need to know, what is the process? How is this happening?
This is happening because the government aren't regulating quarries in rural Ireland. That's just the bottom line.
Right.
And then by somebody not coming in and checking up on what they're doing, every year they take another chance. And now they more or less, they're cutting corners, bottom line. Yeah, the quarries are cutting corners.
When they're blowing up under the ground, this has an effect on the houses above ground as well. Or is this what we're heading towards, is that the foundations, the structures are being impacted? And we're talking about mica here, which is really important.
That would be the pyrite situation of the coming up underneath the ground. But the mica it's like a latent block. It's like a sponge. Like when the cracks become and the water gets in, it expands it, like.
Yeah.
And the next thing then, as the years goes on, 1 year passes, it's not like a Weetabix, turns into like an actual Weetabix. That's what it is. There's no cure for it. It's like a virus inside the block. There is just absolutely no cure, no matter what you do. Whenever the cracks get in and either frost or rain gets in, that's it. That's it.
So you've lots of families who have built these lovely houses, and all of a sudden now they're worthless. They're falling to bits, and there's nothing being done about it. So I know you've been part of a group, and there was, certain things put in place there recently for you guys to have a discussion about this to try and make positive change. So you've been very vocal about this, and I'm delighted to see that you are standing up for a lot of what's been happening. So talk to me about the things that are very important that you need to get across to people today.
Well, to get across to people today is we need help. Like, they try to keep us here in Donegal, and that nobody else would know about it. We done a protest in Donegal and there's 5,000 people watched it, and RTE wouldn't show it. It was kept away from the rest of the country. But we know that the real Irish citizens are all over Ireland. Like, this could happen in your county. It's creeping in out to Clare, Tipperary, Limerick, Mayo and Sligo. And they're only 4 years away from what's happening in Donegal. And I would like to think that the Donegal people would make the whole way down to Cork and support Cork when it actually comes to Irish family homes. Like, this is not protest here about fur coats or climate change, like when you split people 50-50. This is the real Irish core of the thing. Like, everybody, whenever they go away to America or Australia, all they want to do is earn their money to come back and live in Ireland and own their family home. That's what I done. And I'm living a nightmare now. Living a nightmare.
Right. So the bottom line is, there's no regulations on these quarries. The potential of this now expanding outside of Donegal and around Ireland, it's, you're like the start of it. You are now highlighting what's actually happening to a lot of families and to a lot of as you say, elderly people who have nowhere to go. So what happens? Who's covering the cost of this? How are people surviving? Like, you have a lovely home, you think you're paying your mortgage. Are they still paying mortgages on these houses? Like, there must be terrible stress, real stress.
The stress level is to a level that people would not understand. Really, it's listening over in the radio station here now, but really, in your mind for a second, just take a step back and really, really imagine that happening to you. Just imagine the stress in the marriage. There's marriages breaking up. There's suicides. You know what I mean? There's children that's walking into a kitchen, and I know children that they do not want to hear the word mica no more, because there's children out in the playgrounds playing hopscotch, and they're marching about closing quarries. They're supposed to be playing hopscotch. They're supposed to be playing tennis, enjoying themselves. Yeah. Mica has taken over everybody's life. There's nothing going on in Donegal at the minute other than, is your house ready to fall down? Where am I going to live? I hear that we're going to have to live in sheds. I've heard we're going to have to live in caravans. This is the story. Like, not to be discriminating about nothing, but the facts of the matter is, when it happened in the city of Dublin, they got the 100%. They got rehomed while all this pressure was going on. In Donegal, there is, at the minute, people living in caravans outside their back door, watching their house that they've built all their lives, their dream home, being crushed down in front of them. There's nobody in Ireland should have to go through that. There's memories on children at 4, 8, 10, 12 years of age, all this here, that will never leave their mind. And watching their mothers and fathers, maybe crying, maybe looking at them and they're down. They can't enjoy their summers. They can't enjoy life. Yeah. Look, this government is here for a reason. It promised that every county would be treated equal when it was formed. That's completely not the case. That should not happen. And I'm asking all the people, every county in Ireland needs to do something for Donegal, because that is coming to the rest of your counties, and this should never happen in Ireland.
No, and I totally agree with you. It's absolutely abhorrent what I'm hearing as well. And I've been following your story and following the pictures, the videos, and not just that, but the stress of individuals. What I have seen is, though, that the community have rallied together. There's a fighting spirit still. I know it's very frustrating and very difficult for you. But the thing is, it shouldn't be a case of Dublin has it sorted and Donegal hasn't got it sorted. And I'm in total agreement. But I am a person who believes that things can change for the better. And I'm hoping today, by having this conversation with you, Paddy, that we can change and lever some sort of positive action. Now, in regard to what needs to happen, where can you go next and what can you do next? I know you've done so much, so really, really have connected with the government, with your TDs. Where can we ask our audience to help with this?
Well, not even ask the audience where to help. Where we're going after this, and it's hard to believe that after 10 years this has never been done. We went and talked to an ex-bank manager, and there's a letter been written up for all the people in affected counties that own a mortgage out of these banks. And we're not disclosing what the banks are, but at the minute, all over Donegal, and all the towns, there's Kildare, Broncrana, Letterkenny, Lifford, Moville, there's another 3 or 4 that I haven't mentioned. There's people standing out, handing out these letters. And all we're asking the people to do is sign their name, return address, and send it to your mortgage provider. Because we, as actual homeowners, are the only people now that has actually put pressure on the banks. For the government not to have do this here is completely off the charts. Completely off the charts. It's a farce that Home Bond is allowed to walk away. Home insurances, our homes are not insured. The government will not support a state guarantee. That means we can't insure our homes. There's a house went on fire in Mayo. And when that house burnt to the ground, that family not only lost their memories, their money, their clothes, their homes. The insurance company came out and told them, no, you didn't disclose you had mica, you're not insured. Completely walked away from them. And that's what our government, at the minute, in the working group, they are not supporting a state guarantee. Our government are not supporting a public inquiry. Like, listen to this. Something happens in our country. It cost maybe 2 billion, maybe 3, and the government don't want to know why. Do you know why that is? Because our government's let us down, and they don't want to prove it by doing a public inquiry. If they do a public inquiry, they will find out, yes, number one, they will find out the quarry. Yes, number two, they'll find out since 2013 the legislation was passed on to the Donegal County Council. But the bottom line, it always falls, the government had the legislations to look after it up to 2013 and never done their job. And that's the only reason they won't support a public inquiry. And our government are letting the people down. Darragh Breen is the Minister for Housing. And it is an absolute disgrace that man has come into the working group one time just to introduce himself. Hello, I'm Dara O'Brien here. But whenever we get into the nitty-gritty of stuff, what is more important in Irish history at the minute, more than this year, that Dara O'Brien doesn't get to show his face?
Okay, so what we need to do, guys, and for all you listeners out there, it's very important, Paddy, is that we need to open this dialogue and have him involved in this on a very, very proactive level.
Yes, definitely. He has. It's his duty. We've asked him to get into red flag houses. Told him there's houses out there that is not safe to be living in. We have to be allowed to have an engineer or a council to red flag them, get them out and get them rehomed immediately. That has been done 7 or 8 weeks ago. Still not a word about it.
Okay.
Listen, if you just want anything to help us all over Donegal, this is all I can ask you at the minute, please, the people of Dublin and all. There's a Twitter account there, and we're looking to blast Twitter and stand up, and it's at PaddyDover4. That's what it is. Please sign up into that Twitter account and help us along the way. And I mean, really mean please, because Donegal really needs you. We really need to unite this country. And there's a Facebook page that says 100% redress, no less. Please get in and look at that there, and you will see some of the most horrific stories and videos that you've ever seen in your life. And that is, Ireland needs to stand together here. Yes,
and here it is, this age-old tradition of us having serious issue with housing, and it's not really the housing right now, it's the houses, people. So that's the conversation. It's very important. Paddy, you've something else to say there. Come on, because we have a few more minutes.
The biggest thing that I would have to say is here, just picture this and really, really picture this. Everybody else, I'm young, fit and healthy. I really could get over this here if it was a real true 90-10, but it's not the case. An old age pensioner, imagine this was your mother. An old age pensioner at 70 years of age that has put all her money, there's a woman in Letterkenny, Mary Regan's, put all her money on her husband and paid off their mortgage. Her husband passed away. She got cancer. She beat cancer, fair play to her, but she can't beat mica. She used to have her garden looking like a dream garden. Now she hasn't got the heart to pull the weeds up because she says, what's the point? My home's falling down. Thus is no way to let us Irish citizens treat our elderly. Just OAPs, if they can't be rehomed, what kind of people are we? Where are our morals?
I agree. And in support of that, the Paradreams wants to put this story out there as much as possible. And when we get the Mixed Cloud up, I want you guys to share it as well, please. It's very important. Paddy Diver, I know it's a topic we need to keep discussing because people kind of push it under the rug, especially when it's up in Donegal. But it's so important that we have this conversation today.
Well, that's it. They say it's up in Donegal. They're the forgotten county. But I'm telling you, mark my words, see if we don't get to 100%, we're coming down here to Dublin. And it's going to be one of the most annoyingest protests that Dublin has ever seen. I'm telling you, it will be the most annoyingest protest ever seen in this country. And we're asking for every county in Ireland to stand beside us. Because this is not, as I say, it's not to do with fur culture, climate change. This is family homes. And if we can't stick together on something like this, well, what can we stand for? We need every county's help.
Well, if there's one thing we achieve on this show is the possibility of change, the possibility of positive action. And we're going to put that out there because, guys, whatever you do, whether you pray, whether it's eating Smarties or you jump around the garden, I want you to put your energy and your power and your positive thoughts behind this because this is what it's about. Paddy Diver, you've been so vocal about this and you've put a lot of energy into it and I wish you the very best with it, but I'm not going to say that and leave it there. Let's focus on this and we'll get some video footage and stuff on behalf of the show and start supporting you, start running that way as well. Because guys, I do agree. Let's stand together. This is a revolutionary spirit. This is where we all step up because it's not just Donegal. Paddy is right. This is one place, if it's let happen, it'll be let happen everywhere else. And for God's sake, I don't care where you are right now or what you're doing. Anything is possible if you just make the right intention today that you're going to help and make a positive change. It will happen. I totally believe it. And Paddy Diver, thank you so much for that. I wish we had more time, but it's great you said what you said, and maybe that's enough to push people over the line and get them acting in the proper way that you deserve to get support.
Yep, no, thank you very much, Shay.
And we show our support for Donegal. We definitely 100%. We'll get a push on here as well at our end and see what we can do. I'm down in Meath. I'll have a word with a few people down there as well. And let's see if we can't make something happen on the back of this. Right, that's it, guys. I can't believe it's 2 hours already. I want to say a big thank you to everybody and especially Ryan Sheridan and also to Tag Beckett. Paddy Diver here beside me as well. This is a whole conversation we could have another 4 hours about. But the main thing is we got our point across today. And also the musicians, the artists, and most especially you, the listener, because you have more power than you think. Just because you're there sitting listening doesn't mean you can't get your fingers on your phone right after this. Go and support Donegal. Go and support the changes that need to happen with mica and also in regard to everything else that's happening. I especially want to send my love and support to anybody going through this right now. And just to tell you,